Hey guys, my name is Mitsumiao, and today I wanted to do something a little bit different. The other day I was asked, why do I love Rainbow Six Siege so much? Clearly I've put a lot of time into it, but what keeps me coming back each and every single day? But in the moment, I had a hard time coming up with any reasons why. It stumped me. And so what I wanted to do today is answer that question. Why have I put over 2,000 plus hours into this game? But also, to make things a little bit more interesting, go over some of the reasons why I also dislike this game at the very same time. And so first and foremost, I think what it really just comes down to is that Siege has that perfect formula where even after years of playing, it still gets my heart pounding. I'm sure this happens to you guys as well. It's a clutch situation, it's overtime, whoever wins is gonna win the game, and you start getting some headshots, and you're starting to get multiple headshots because of that one-shot headshot mechanic. And then all of a sudden, it's a 1v1 situation. The objective is planted, and you gotta get moving. Those are the moments that I live for. And then when you're able to come out on top, it is one of the most exhilarating things, at least for me, that I feel like you can experience in this kind of a video game. I have obviously played a lot of multiplayer games. Battlefield COD, I'm playing a lot of Destiny 2 lately, and those games are really fun for what they do, but they don't have that same competitive nature. And really, that one-shot headshot mechanic facilitates that. If it's a 1v5, things are not lost. Now, granted, they probably have to screw up. If it's a 1v5 situation, you should still technically lose, but because of that mechanic, as long as you're accurate enough and as long as you're on your game, you can come out on top. And I think right there is really the biggest reason why I've played Siege for as long as I have. Now, all that being said though, that doesn't mean that it's a perfect experience. And this gets to my first point of what I actually dislike about the game, and that is timing. Because of that one-shot headshot mechanic, your positioning and timing is a pretty critical role to your success. How many times have you held an angle for a solid 30 seconds knowing that someone was nearby, but as soon as you unaim down sights or you look to your left really quickly just to check that angle, the person rounds the corner in that brief window and takes you out? The one-shot headshot mechanic might lead to some awesome moments, but it can also lead to these frustrating situations where it just feels like the universe is against you. I've had days, and I don't think I'm alone on this, where my timing is just off. No matter what I do, I take it slow, I try to play aggressive, everything I do is countered by the other team, and I always feel like I'm out of position, and because of that blazing fast, literally instantaneous TTK, I'm just getting absolutely destroyed by the other team. And so while there's nothing that Ubisoft can do about this, because it's a core component of what makes Rainbow Six Siege what it is, and honestly, why it's so enjoyable, when you have those days that are just off, that one-shot mechanic and just bad timing can lead to some of the most annoying gameplay experiences. Another thing I really appreciate is the sheer amount of depth and variety that it provides. There is so much to learn in Siege. There's obviously all the different operators. You need to know the ins and outs of them and their different counters. There's the layout of the map, how you can open up different angles. Then you have the different strategies on the different maps and the different synergies between all the different operators. You can literally play this game differently every single day and discover something new that you haven't done before because of said depth. This is a game where if you think about a situation, you can usually come out on top. Having quick reaction time is obviously going to give you an advantage, but that is not the whole story here. Yeah, you can run in as Ashe and take everyone out if you have the aim to do so, but if you don't even know where you're getting hit from because you were bamboozled by an alibi, or they hit you from a different angle you just simply weren't expecting or you've never seen before, those are the moments that just add to that satisfaction. I love learning new things, and one of the things about Siege is that there is so much to learn. Now, obviously, that comes with its own problems and issues. Ubisoft lately has been trying to make the game more accessible, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it rewards you heavily for not only trying out new things, but also thinking through engagements, and that is something that I love. Now, one thing that I am definitely not a fan of, though, are spawn peaks and runouts. I fully understand it's part of the game at this point. If Ubisoft wanted to do more about it, they would have done something a long time ago. It's something that you have to just live with, but it doesn't mean that I have to like it. A lot of the maps, especially the old ones, I don't feel like they were designed with spawn peeking in mind. They have gotten better with this, but a lot of them just simply do not have enough cover for offense to take advantage of. The insides of these maps were meticulously designed from the ground up. There's only so many angles that they can hit you from at any given moment. There's plenty of cover for both offense and defense to take advantage of, and for the most part, that results in some really fantastic matches. And when they deviate from that formula, that's where we run into problems. A prime example of this is Hereford Base. I think one of the reasons why so many people despise that top floor on offense was because of its open layout. There was a ton of angles that defense could hit you from, and because there wasn't really a whole lot of things for you to hide behind, it made it very difficult to get anywhere near those objective rooms. I feel like the same thing applies to a lot of the outsides of these maps. Consulate is a perfect example. There's like 10 windows on the front of the building, and any single one of them can hold a defender. Having to check each and every single one of those windows at the beginning of a match just gets tedious at this point. And then as soon as you make the all clear and push on forward, because there's this expanse in between you and the building, someone could run out or re-peek one of those windows that they opened on up and take you out because you have no cover really to take advantage of. And while I will admit that Ubisoft has done a much better job with this lately with their new maps and the reworks of old ones. Canal and Cafe, while it's definitely not a thing of the past, they're much more manageable. And so all I can say is that I cannot wait for those old maps to get reworked. I fully understand that it's a part of the game. I understand why players do it. It's just not an aspect that I enjoy whatsoever. Another thing I really appreciate, and I wanted to bring it up because I don't think that it necessarily goes unappreciated, but it's kind of gone unnoticed because we've just been playing this game for so long, is the destructibility of these maps. The destruction in Siege really takes it to the next level. If this game had static maps that you couldn't get through walls, I still think it'd be one of the better FPS games out there. Maybe not as good, but still fantastic because there's a lot to enjoy. There would still be a lot of tactics. Clearly, this would limit the amount of variety that they could add operator-wise. You wouldn't need to have Sledge or Habana or Maverick or anything like that because you just simply couldn't get through walls, but it would still be a good game. But I really believe that destructibility really makes Siege what it is today. Being able to take out the floor below you and take out someone that is on a completely different level is something that you cannot do in basically any other video game out there. Battlefield kinda has this, even though they've been scaling it back, but it's usually on a grander scale. Like you take out an entire building. You're not taking out a wall to be able to see what's on the other side. I really wish that more video games had these kinds of mechanics and systems in place, because if done properly, and I would say that Siege does a pretty good job with it, it takes it to a completely different level. The amount of strategy and depth that allows for, like we talked earlier, is second to none. And then finally, and I realize that not everyone is going to agree with me on this one, is that I actually love the community of Siege. There are people out there that are clearly toxic. They are doing everything they can to ruin your game. They are TKing you left, right, and center, but that doesn't detract from the fact that I have made so many friends playing this game. I love the passion of this community. I realize how corny and cheesy as that sounds, but I love it when people make artwork of their favorite operators. They're making comics. They're rooting for their favorite teams on the Pro League. They're making YouTube videos because they just love what this game is. And while I fully understand that there's always going to be a toxic part of it, that's just something that comes with the territory of having a competitive multiplayer game like this. There's always going to be that aspect. If you can look past that at what I believe is the core of what this community is, I think it's a great bunch of people. And so all in all, I think that's really what it comes down to. We could get into these more smaller details. Like for example, I love the cosmetic items. I probably get just as excited for the new weapon skins, the seasonal ones, as I do for the new operators. I don't know what it is. I just like adding to my collection, and it's a part of Siege that I really enjoy. I actually love but also dislike the glitches. Having players that are invisible sucks, but having raptor legs at the end of a camera is probably one of the most hilarious things that they've had in the game. These are all parts of what makes Siege, but I don't think that that is the whole picture. If I had to sum everything up, it really comes down to that core gameplay loop. The amount of variety in not only the different operators, but also the maps and the destructibility on those maps that allows for an incredible amount of depth and strategy. It's that strategy that allows you to outthink and outplay the other team, and then you have the one-shot headshot mechanic that allows you to have those clutch moments. When we really get down to it, I think that is the reason why I have put so much time into Rainbow Six Siege. But yeah, guys, that is what it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I realize that this is probably an odd topic and something that you weren't expecting, but I thought it was a fun discussion. And so let me know what you guys thought about this topic. Is there something that you love about the game that keeps you coming back for more? Is there something that you clearly dislike? Give me your guys' thoughts down below. But yeah, guys, until next time, have a good one and take it easy.